My dear students, hope your online class will be going good. As you know, in the last video, we already have discussed about measurement, SI unit of the measurements and the direct measurements. The aim of this video to know about time, rest and motion, types of motion and the force. So, let's have a look. What is time? As we know, time plays an important role in our life. All our activity revolve around time. For example, coming to school, going for music lesson, or the working walk, all happen as per a well-defined and planned timetable. So, student, what is time? Time is what a clock reads, or you can say the measured or measurable period during which an action, process, or continues. So, all we know, we use clock to measure the time. There are many variety of the clock. We have first is pendulum clock. What is a pendulum? Pendulum is a weight suspended from a pivot so that it can swing freely, and this led to the design of the pendulum clock. This is like a pendulum in which a weight is suspended from a pivot so that it can swing freely. And this type of clock can be seen at church, house for the decorated purpose, and in the this clock is have been derived from the ancient time. This is the one type of clock that we have, and the next type of clock is digital clock. The in the digital clock, the time is displayed in the digit. Nowadays, we have many clock and watches that do not have the tradition or hour, minute, and second hands. This type of the clock, which display the time directly in digit, is known as the digital clock, and this type of clock can be seen as the car in the car, at the microwave oven, and at as well as in our house also. The next is the stopwatch. Sometimes we need to measure very short time interval accurately. For that, we use a special type of watch that is called the stopwatch. And a stopwatch is used in different sports competition like race, swimming event. It can be started and stopped at once will. It use make it easy and convenient to measure the time elapse in a particular short duration of the activity. This type of watch is basically used for the short interval of time and to measure the many small fractions of time. Now students, it's time for the rest and motion. So what is rest and motion? I think you all are know about little about the rest and motion. So now go for to take the vast knowledge about the rest and motion. Let's have a look. What is the rest? Students, you can see there is a table and we having a book and a cup of tea. And in the second picture, there is a bench which is placed in a park. So, is they can move by own self? I think it's no. So, what is the rest? An object is at rest if it does not change its position with respect to its immediate surrounding. As you can see, the book cannot move by own self, so it does not change its position. So it means what? An object is at rest if it does not change its position with respect to the immediate surrounding. And what is the? And the example are the book lying on the table, bench put in the park, and many more. What is the motion? Motion is directly opposite of the rest. In the rest, the object is does not move, but in the motion, the object is keeps changing. An object is in motion if it keep on changing its position with respect to its immediate surrounding. For example, train move on track, child running in the park. Now, student, we also have type of the motion. There are such type of motion are rectilinear motion, curvilinear motion, rotation and revolution, periodic and non-periodic motion, and the oscillatory motion. Let's have a look about these motions. Rectilinear motion. Student, have you noticed whenever we play a carom board, what is the direction of the strike? And when the officers or the navies doing the march past, what is their direction? In this two type of action, the direction is always in the straight line. So we can say the rectilinear motion is that type of motion in which an object is changes position along a straight line path. So an object is said to be have a rectilinear motion if the changes in its position are always all along the straight line path. For example, moving a motor and doing a march past of the navy and merchants. The next type of motion is the curvilinear motion. Curvilinear means curve means any zigzag path or any non-defined path. So, when an object moves from one position to another along a curved line, the object is said to be curvilinear motion. For example, you have seen that whenever we put a stone in the pond or in the water, the water then look like this, like a curving. It means its position is changed from one time to another time. And the another example of the curvilinear motion is the moving a pen and the zigzag path of the bus at the hill station. So students, we have cleared about curvilinear motion. The curvilinear motion means what? When an object moves from one position to another along a curved line, the object is said to be a curvilinear motion. Rotation and the motion. An object is said to have a rotational motion if it keeps on moving round and round or keeps on spinning without changing its place. As you look at the rotating blade of this fan, it means what? The blades are moving around round and round, but it is in the same, it's containing same position. So an object is said to have a rotational motion if it keeps on moving round and round or keeps on spinning without changing its position. The more example are the spinning of Porter and merry-go-round right. Next is the revolution. What about the motion of the moon around the earth, or the motion of earth around the sun, or the motion of the second hand of a world globe? Here the objects concerned are not moving in a straight line but are still changing their position continuously. They are in fact moving in nearly a circular path about a central point. We call such a motion is a revolution. So the motion of an object is known as a revolution if it moves around a center point and changing its position continuously. Usually a circular path is known as the revolution. Students, sometimes the object keeps on moving in a perfectly circular path. For example, if a ball is tied to end of a string and the string is wired round and round. So this type of motion is known as the circular motion also. Now, periodic motion. We all know that moon moves around the earth. It takes about 30 days to make one complete revolution. This month this motion is then repeated and process goes on and on month after month. So the type of motion which repeat itself after a regular interval of time is called the periodic motion. For example, the motion of the earth as it revolves around the sun once every year, or the motion of the hand of the clock are the example of the periodic motion, because this type of motion are repeat itself after a regular interval of time. Now, non-periodic motion. You have seen that when we speak, our lips undergoes movement. Their movement continues as long as we are speaking. When we stop, there is no movement of lips. However, the movement occurs again when we speak again. Thus, the movement of lips may get repeated, but there is no regularity time here. So, such type of motion is a non-periodic motion. So, we can see the movement which may repeat it, but there is no regularity of the time, and such type of motion is known as the non-periodic motion. The example of the non-periodic motion are the movement of our hand while writing, running of a batsman between the wickets, movement of our body while dancing, flowing water, beating of the tabla. Now students, it's time to learn about the oscillator motion. Oscillator means the motion of the to and fro. So we can say the to and fro motion of an object along the same path is called the oscillatory motion. Like the movement of the pendulum in the pendulum clock, the swing of a child, and the movement of a bell are the example of the oscillatory motion. Now students, it's time for the force. What is the force? To know the meaning of the force, let's see this picture. There is a handcraft is filled with a load. It is standing on the road and Rohan and his friends push it hard. It starts moving. The more they push, the faster is motion of the craft. When they are joined by their third friend, the cart gets more push and moves still faster. It is the push applied on the cart that produces motion into it. Again, suppose the door of our room has got jammed. We try to pull it, but it does not open. Some of our friends then join us and help us to increase the applied pull. The door opens. Here it is the pull applied on the door that produce motion on the it. These two examples show that the motion can be produced in an object by giving a push to it or by the pulling it. So, force is what? Force may be thought of as a pull or a push. We can say therefore that we can produce motion in a body by a push or a pull applied to it. So, push or pull is known as the force. Students, do you know there is some effects of the force also? A force can move a stationary object. A force can stop a moving body also. A force can change the speed of a moving body, and the force can also change the direction of moving body, and the force can change the shape and the size of a body as well. So this is the entire topics from the chapter 6, measurement and motion. Thank you students to joining me and through this video. Have a good day.